Start Your Dungeons is now sponsored by Level Up Games, the largest and best board game, role playing, miniature games, collectible card game, hobby, and nerd store in Georgia. With a wide variety of events and product lines, Level Up Games is sure to have the product for every gamer you know. With 3 convenient locations in Duluth, Johns Creek, and Athens, there's bound to be a store near you. Plus, they ship anywhere in the U.S. from their online shop at levelupgamesatl.com. Thanks for sponsoring the channel, Level Up Games, and check out their event calendar and online store at the link in the description.
Hello everyone, welcome to Start Your Dungeons. I'm Adam.
I'm Bryce.
And today we're playing the Unmatched, which one is the...
It's the Adventures one. So
Tales to Amaze.
Yeah. So this is a new product come out. For those who don't know what Unmatched is, it is a kind of competitive like skirmish board game where basically you play as famous heroes and villains from ancient like either lore or myth. There's like characters
Some
from literature in there.
But you can also get some from like Marvel.
Yeah, there's Marvel. There's going to be a Witcher version of it.
Yeah.
But we want to talk about this one because this one's a little bit different from their other ones in that this is the Unmatched Adventures edition, which is a co-op version of the board game, not a free-for-all skirmish game.
Right.
And we had just literally picked it up. I've had this for a while. I kickstarted this edition, and I've been a big fan of Unmatched for years as a competitive game. But this version, I think, is really pretty incredible.
This was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. This was really good. So what comes in the box?
So much. So fair disclosure again, I did kickstart this, so I have a lot of upgraded pieces in some of mine, so I do have some upgraded things. I'll try to point out which ones are which in that case. But it comes with a board for each side, so you have 2 different villains you can fight. You can fight Mothman and an alien invasion, and they basically come with miniatures for those. You have 6 minions that are played. You basically add a minion for every player. This is a 1-2-4 player game. And there's different ones. You have the Blob, the Ant Queen, the Tarantula, the Loveland's Frog, the Skunk Ape, and then the Jersey Devil. You have 4 characters you can play as. You have Nikola Tesla, who's all about charging his coils to affect people. Dr. Jill Trent, who is a famous pulp science adventurer. You have Annie Christmas, who is based on Louisiana folklore. And then you have Golden Bat, who is considered the first ever real superhero ever created out of Japan. Super cool, like kind of design. You also get all the cards you need. This is a deck-based game where you use cards to basically fight it out. You get all the dials for everyone, the tokens for everyone. All the characters and monsters have their own small decks. You get tokens. I mean, there's so much in this box, and I will give shout-out always to Restoration Games for this. Restoration Games always makes their insert fit perfectly. So you can literally put, like, your hero's stuff goes on the bottom and their deck goes on top and holds it down, and it all fits perfectly. I have to give a massive shout out to them for always doing that. They did it with all their regular stuff, and then they did it with this, and I'm so happy for that.
Yeah, that's one of those things that, you know, just it's such a nice touch that got to give them props for it. So let's talk about the quality of everything. So, you know, one of the things I want to go back to, so you say that you kickstarted. What's the difference in the pieces if you kickstart it versus if you upgraded versus if you didn't?
The only thing I think that actually you get is there's these little Martian and like moth tokens that you get to mark that you can use for marking things on the board, and also I think these upgraded Doom tokens that I have.
So those would usually be cardboard?
I believe those are cardboard.
And now they're plastic.
Yeah, and I think that's it. Honestly, there wasn't a whole lot of upgrade difference. I know these were definitely, but other than that, what you see on pretty much here is what you're actually going to get when you pick up a copy of it, which is nice.
So you didn't have to assemble anything?
No, these are all one-piece plastic. I'll say this. I think they really knock it out of the park for one-piece plastic models. They are dropped with like ink on top of them, so a lot of the detail is really picked up, and they have like a black lining almost, like they've almost been washed in some regards. And all their models for all their things like that, like Nikola Tesla, I think is one of the coolest looking. He looks really
Yeah.
cool. Like you don't need to paint them, but they are paintable if you want to. I do like that the kind of gave a little bit of paint to like Mothman and the Martian invaders, which I think are really cool. The tokens are always really nice in these. They're hard acrylic, really really nice tokens. You use health dials. I feel like their dials are always high quality. Just everything feels high quality. Cards, board, all of it. They didn't skimp on putting out a product with like cheap parts, and I
Right.
think they always do that, and I've always been really impressed with that.
Are there any kind of cheat sheets in the box?
Not really, because really, I mean, in this game, the back of your character card tells you all your actions. You only have 3 actions in this game.
Yeah.
You draw a card, you move, you play a scheme card, or you play an attack or defense card. Attack card. That's it. Like, that's really all you can do. So there's really not a lot to the game. The only thing that's like kind of reminder things and understand, because this is different, is this is a co-op, not a free-for-all game, so you have to learn the rules for that. But I feel like they were really easy. I mean, I hadn't played this before. We played it literally before recording, and we picked it up pretty quick.
Picked it right up.
Yeah.
Everything's on the cards.
Right.
So how easy is it? I mean, like as we just said, how easy is it to get into this game?
It's not hard, man. Like, I don't know. Like, I played a bunch. Like, you don't play as much as I do.
Right.
And, like, do you feel like it was easy to jump back into?
Yeah. I mean, really, this was, I was a little scared because as soon as I picked Nikola Tesla, I was like, oh no, it's got the little coil counters. Oh, is that going to be, is going to have extra stuff for me to do? It was super simple because everything was spelled out on the card.
Yeah.
Didn't have to worry.
That's one of the big things about this game, I think, is the basic rules are the same for every single game. So every game always plays the same. Like if you're playing a co-op version or the free-for-all version, the rules are all the same. Every character doesn't have some wackadoo superpower that changes the game dramatically. It's just we get a little bit of an extra bonus on there, and that's it. And like everything else is easy to read or understand. There's no like, well, this guy can shoot from 3 spaceways. Like if you're ranged, you can shoot in the same colors. If you're in melee, you have to be next to the guy. You have a health pool. When you play a defense card, whatever your defense is versus the attack. If it's tied or higher for defense, you win. If the higher attacker is higher, you subtract your defense card and you take that much damage. Like it's just not really got a whole lot in terms of like complexity of how to play it, but the gameplay is so much more fun than you think it would be with how simple it is.
What about keywords and symbols to remember?
Not really. I mean, there's really not a whole lot on this other than you just got to be able to read the cards. Like, I feel like there's not really a whole lot symbol wise other than this is a melee attack, this is a ranged unit, and that's it. Like,
You got your defense symbol, your attack symbol,
your scheme
symbol, and that's about it.
Yeah.
But that's going to be standard for no matter who you're playing.
Right. And the other thing I will say is, if you have a sidekick, some of your cards can only be used by your sidekick. Some of your cards can only be used by your hero. So you'll have to look at the little side. Most will say any, but some will say like in Dr. Jill Trent's case, where she can only use them, or Daisy, her partner, can only use them. So
What time does it take to play this box?
would it take us 30 minutes? I mean, 30 minutes. I would say even with 4 players, 35, 40 minutes. Like it does not take long to play this, and it really. I'm going to say this now. I didn't know what to expect about this co-op game. I was excited for it because I love Unmatched, but I was like, I hope it's good. If not, everything in here is compatible with the regular Unmatched, so whatever. This is stunningly easy to play.
I think this would be a great one for a party game.
Yeah.
If you had, if you had like some casual gamer friends and they wanted to try something that, maybe it's kind of like card-based, skirmishy kind of stuff. Really, I think this would be a good one.
Yeah. I think this one does a really good job of keeping it simple. Everything is kind of built around the fact that everything just goes, like enemies move closest towards the closest enemy and then attack them. There's really not a whole lot that's like, oh, what's going on? Like, I don't really know. And I felt like we picked up the rules very quick, even though, because we play Unmatched. I mean, I played a lot more, I think, than you do. But even you were like, yeah, I know how to play Unmatched, so I can probably figure it out. And really, it was just flip over the initiative card. Whose turn is it? Who's going? And all the characters feel really good in this set. I really like a lot of these characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a really solid.
Next time I want to play with Golden Bat.
Yeah. No, he played Tesla in our last game, and I played Dr. Jill. I like Dr. Jill, but I do want to try Annie Christmas, too.
Yeah.
So
is this a complete game?
yes, it's a complete game on its own. But here's where it gets really, really cool, and I have to give Restoration Games big props for this. Any hero from any of their other Unmatched games can play in this game against the villains. Any character in this box can play in the free-for-all version of the game. Everything is compatible. The only thing that's not is you can't take the monsters and use them against like a
They're
normal
specific for this.
But man, talk about a smart move.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like being able to use it. These boards can actually be used as regular boards if you want to and just remove the extra little abilities. Like that's just so freaking cool to me.
Just thinking there's the Hell's Kitchen set, Ghost Rider.
Oh yeah.
Throw Daredevil and Ghost Rider in here.
I would be down for that. There's all those different kinds. Like the new one coming out is the finally releasing the Shakespeare set, where it's Shakespeare
cool.
versus all of his like famous characters from his plays.
Yeah.
The one I'm super excited for that won the fan contest, but I'm still waiting on the 2-player starter set is Rosie the Riveter. Like Rosie the Riveter's cool, but they just released the Rising Sun set, which has 2 famous Japanese historical figures in it. They have the different. We'll talk about it once we say. I mean, we'll talk about
Holmes.
it now. Talk about how to expand this.
Yeah.
So
there's like a Jurassic Park
yeah,
one.
there's 2 Jurassic Park ones. There's the best way I can tell you to get into this game is this is a really good way to get into it if you want a co-op version that also can play the versus mode. If you want to play just the versus mode, pick up a 4-player one. The 4-player one is the best. I like the Buffy one. A lot of people don't like the Buffy one. I think the Buffy one's okay. The fighters in it are not as good as a lot of the other ones. But there's also Volume 1 and Volume 2. Volume 1 was their original set we came with 4, which had King Arthur and Merlin. You had Medusa. You had Alice from Alice in Wonderland. And you had Sinbad from Sinbad and the Seven Voyages. Cool. They have Volume 2, which came out, which has more historical figures. I don't remember a lot of those ones. You have the Marvel ones, which are mostly 3-player ones, and 2-player. Which is another thing I want to talk about, is how easy it is to get into this game. You can buy a 2-player box to start out and just have it be, I play it with my partner all the time. And it's just like, let's just pick up one of the 2-player boxes. Or pick up a 3-player. But you can play it with any of them. Yep. So because of that, as long as you can buy all that you want or as little as you want, and it all works together. And the fact that now you can play the game 2 ways, I think is a huge deal. Because I love the competitive play of it. I like playing that. It's super fun. It always feels good. I never feel bad when I lose. I'm always like, it wasn't like I played bad. It was just like, things happen. This now lets you go, hey, I don't have friends who want to play competitive games with me or play versus. But they do like co-op games. Now I can get them to try this and try it as a co-op game and then maybe play it as that. Or vice versa. They don't like co-op games, but they do like Unmatched. This is kind of like playing Unmatched, but basically you're fighting a 5th player almost kind of style to it.
So, this gets us to our last set of questions. Who is this for, the new or the seasoned players? And I want to throw something in. If someone likes the games like Pandemic or any of the Arkham games, Arkham Horror or Eldritch Horror or any of those, but maybe those themes don't really satisfy them, maybe this is the way to go.
I love that idea, honestly. It's the idea of the fact that a lot of co-op games, and nothing wrong with this, but you see a lot of dungeon crawls. You see a lot of the Arkham horror like side of it. This one feels very unique. It's very campy almost, and it's like
there's
Mothman.
A growing threat, but I mean, Mothman just looks awesome.
Yeah, like Mothman looks awesome. Like the spaceship looks amazing. I mean, this whole idea and like the we were laughing because we beat the 2 minions really quick in like the first 2 rounds. We were like, oh, we're gonna win this game, and then we lost. Like we actually lost really bad.
Kicked our butts.
Yeah, like he suddenly started ramping really quick, and we were like, oh, he's adding so much threat. We're just never gonna be able to stop him.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool because the game is very similar, like you said, to Pandemic. Pandemic can get out of hand very quickly
Yeah.
if things just start triggering over and over again. This had that same feel, but I never felt like I was like, I'm going to lose this game. It was more like, we really just have to play to our best
Yeah,
outs.
we had a chance.
Yeah.
And I think, we got a couple of bad draws that didn't really put us in position. He ramped his abilities and it got away from us, but we were so close, and I feel like I feel like it scratched that itch for the for those threat types of games like Arkham Horror, but the theme wasn't the cosmic horror, like the really really dark stuff.
Yeah.
So you probably would, this is like you say, it's a little more campy, a little more silly.
Superhero-y almost aspect.
There's some
and so-
superhero stuff in there, so you probably get somebody involved who isn't really interested in horror.
Or it's good for a younger crowd. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like there is some depth to this game. I won't say it's for kids because I do think some of the card play can be a little bit difficult. But it is,
Maybe teenagers.
yeah, like teenagers and stuff like that. And I like that it plays up to 4 players. But it also plays solo. And I actually think I would really enjoy playing this solo. Like, I think I would
Yeah.
have some fun playing this around. I think there's certain
Absolutely.
characters that are better than others probably in that. But, like, this is, yeah. Yeah.
And so would you keep playing based on this box alone?
Hell yeah! I mean, like this is just the first of many for them, which
Yeah.
I think is what's really cool. Is they tried this idea, it worked really well, it sold really well. It is now available in retailers, so you can pick it up at Level Up Games, ATL.com, our sponsor. But you also like, I didn't need this game to enjoy Unmatched.
Right.
But what they've done is said, I'm going to give you more ways to play the game you love. And that, to me, speaks of a company really understanding
Yeah.
their game. And to me, this doesn't feel half-assed.
Right.
It really feels like a completely well-designed, let's not just take our game normally and add a co-op aspect to it. Let's really build it from the ground up.
Yeah.
And it just goes, this works. Like, I'm amazed how well this feels like the regular game, but it's a co-op version of it.
Honestly, if you had told me that this was the original game and
Yeah.
that everything else was just an expansion, I might believe you.
Yeah.
Because this feels like the game they intended to make.
Right. It just feels like, again, it's smooth, it works well. The fact, again, and I know I keep saying this, the fact that you can just take a game that is competitive, completely competitive, and make it co-op by using the same system you already have in place
Yeah.
is really impressive.
Yeah.
You don't see this a lot with some games, or if they make a co-op expansion, it's either very good or very bland in
Yeah.
some cases, and this doesn't feel bland. It feels well thought out. The replayability is nuts on this. Like, we played versus Skunk Ape and the Loveland Frog, and I was like, oh man, these were fun. But I started looking at other cards going like, oh man, the blob is like really annoying. Or like the tarantula like adds all these webs on the board, or the blob like splits himself, and the frog adds like extra cards to the deck so he activates multiple times. And there's just a lot of really cool ideas on this game that I think mean I'm not only excited to play this more, I'm excited for the next version of this.
Yeah.
Because all it's going to do is add more options, more variety, and like take a game I already love and give me more to do with it, which is fantastic.
Yeah. I think this was a good purchase.
Yeah, definitely. Are saying, was this worth it? 100%.
Yeah.
Like, I've never actually bought an Unmatched product and gone, I don't like these fighters. Like, every one I bought, I've been like, I like these
I
in
could
some
see
way.
that.
And I think these are all really, really good heroes that are fun, well designed, and I think if you're looking to get into the game, buy a 4-player starter if you don't really care for the co-op. But honestly, if you want to play both ways, you might as well just buy this. I believe it's $40 or $50. I paid $40 for it on Kickstarter, I believe. So I mean, like, there's just so much value in this.
So if you have any thoughts on Unmatched in general, or if you want to know more and discuss, put your comments down below, and
if you are interested in picking it up as well, again, like I said, Level Up Games, our sponsor, does have it in stock along with the other products for Unmatched. So you can go to their website in the link down in the description and you'll be able to pick up your own copy as well.
All right. Well, let us know what you think.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.